You need to prioritize yourself, your own health and fitness, and here's why you should do it, and importantly, how you're going to do it. Let's go.
Witness the Fitness Podcast. Discussions and ramblings of everything fitness, health, and nutrition. Let's go.
Now, prioritizing yourself and your own health and well-being can be a real challenge for lots of people. And does this sound like you, or does any element of this sound like you, for the reasons that you may not be putting yourself as number one? First thing is like just kind of practical reasons that you've got really busy schedules, you've got long work hours, you're commuting this, that, and the other, you've got family commitments with like taking the kids to football. These things then get in the way, and you just find yourself kind of dropping down the priority list. Might be that. Another thing is kind of knowledge blocks. You just don't have the information of knowing where to get started. There's conflicting information out there, especially with things like nutrition. It's really hard to kind of know what's right and wrong, and to kind of like know where to start with the information that's presented to you. So, you might leave yourself or feel confused, feel kind of like I've got no idea where to start. A lot of people lack motivation and discipline. They've got poor internal motivators and drivers of like prioritizing their own health and fitness. They feel like I just don't want to do it. The discipline to stick in line with these things is hard, and I actually find it easier not to do it. Motivation being poor, that can be kind of kickstarted from just mental self-image perceptions of oneself. Let's just say that, perceptions of oneself. If you've got really poor self-image, you're going to rate yourself lower, and that can manifest in a way that you just won't look after yourself because you don't rate yourself, you don't prioritize yourself, and that can be a problem. And then this could be compounded by social pressures. You may be surrounded by family, friends, people close to you that don't rate health and fitness, don't actually look after themselves, and you can get this weird peer pressure. Let's say you do start on a journey of kind of self-improvement. You're going to get a lot of people potentially in your circle that turns around and goes, why are you fucking doing that? Why don't you just stay as you are? You're fine as you are. When deep down, you know you're not. So there might be multiple reasons why you're not prioritizing yourself. And all these reasons that we've just talked about, whether it be the practical, the lack of knowledge, the lack of motivation, the kind of poor self-image, and them social pressures, we're going to talk about how we overcome them. Let's get into it. So when you're super busy and you work long hours, if you need me to say it, you need better time management and a plan. It's the only way it's going to work. It is a priority. Your health and well-being is a priority. Whether you understand that now or you take something more dramatic further down the line, like a health scare, it's a priority. So therefore, having a busy schedule, everyone's got a level of a busy schedule. It's about trying to harness the time that you have and managing your time as well as possible. And to do that, you need a plan and you need a clear strategy. One way of thinking about this is looking at your list of priorities and your important stuff throughout life. So if we take work, it takes up a big chunk. It's important, especially to pay the bills in the house. We've got the family commitments. We've then got other bits and pieces, whether that be the kids, social events that I need to go to, other interests that I've got. I need to package this all in a way. Now, one strategy I advise to people is to create a hierarchy of importance for a day, for a week, whatever that may be, and you can work this out individually. So what's a hierarchy of importance? Dead simple. You've got them list of things that are important to do in a day. And let's say you've got on a list 1 to 5. Number 1 on that list is the most important aspect for that day, and it takes priority. So let's say you look at Monday and you write your list down of 5 things. You've got 5 things to do, including work, family, and all that jazz. And you write down them lists. And it may be specific things like taking your kids to football. Where does that come on that list? Now, the first point is just to kind of see what is taking over your schedule too much. So let's say you spend a week where each day you write down your hierarchy of importance. Let's say you look back at that, and number one on the list is always work. That is a massive problem. That is not balanced. That is not good time management esque. We need to juggle and spin plates a little bit more better than that. Work cannot always be number one priority. Now, don't get me wrong. Some days it is number one priority just because there's a really important deadline or whatever there needs to be. But there needs to be a little bit of give and take. Now, you need to get into a habit that when you plan your strategy out for your week and the hierarchy of importance, that at least twice a week, your health, your fitness is number one on the list. Now, that's not going to be every day. Now, important things need to take their turn on the in kind of hierarchy of importance. But you need to make sure that when you look at your week, you pick some days or whatever it may be, you come hell or high water, you put a plan and a strategy in where at least 2 of them days a week, you are number one on that list. You know, you might look at your week and go, well, the kids on Thursday and Saturday, they're always number one because they've got these things in place, whether it be sports club or after school, whatever it may be. That is totally fine. They can go number one at that point. And you might go, well, Mondays and Wednesdays, it's really important that I make work more important, and that's going to be number one on them days. Totally fine. That means we need to look at maybe, I know, Tuesdays and Sundays, your priority number one. Plan something in where you say no to certain people. You say, do me a favor to other people to help facilitate you be number one on the hierarchy importance list on that day. Now, will that just magically happen? No, you need to work on these things. But first, you need to check where your priorities lie. And is there a give and take? Is there a balance to it? If there isn't, address it. And when you get really good at it, you will find you make time for yourself. And weirdly, it will help everything else. Now, why is it important that you take that selfish standpoint, if that's the way to say it? Because in my opinion, you cannot be selfless. You cannot help others. You cannot help your kids unless you are helping yourself. Right? I get loads of people come to me and kind of go, so why are you getting fit and healthy? What's your motivation? And they'll say things like, I need to keep up with my kids. And it's like, yes, you do. You are doing what's best for your kids if you look after yourself. You'll be able to keep up with them. You'll be able to do more stuff with them. It'll be amazing. Importantly, when you look at the long-term trajectory for your kids, you need to role model positive, healthy habits for your children. Now, just take a moment. The habits that you do, the behaviors that you do, you prioritize in work, drilling yourself into the ground, and it's affecting your health, waistline. You may be feeling low. Do you want that for your children? Serious question. I'm going to say, no, you don't. I'm going to say that you probably want the best for your kids. You want them to have a nice balance between working hard, enjoying life, and being fit and healthy. That requires balance. That requires what I've just said about that kind of prioritizing the hierarchy of importance. Now, if you really want for that kids, role model it. You won't even need to tell them. They will see it as they age and grow, and you're giving them the experience of, I look after myself. My health is important. No one can look after it but myself. And you need to understand that. And they'll see that through your role modeling. They will do it as well. So if you want the best for your kids, the best way, in my opinion, to achieve that is to want the best for yourself, because it will role model positive behaviors. So you're struggling with the sheer amount of information out there about health and fitness, and you're getting confused and you don't know where to start. This one, in my opinion, is really easy to rectify, but it does take time. What I want you to do is turn yourself into a mini expert. I do this with a lot of clients that pick up injuries and stuff, and I'll kind of just point them in the right direction of like, read around this kind of thing. It will help you understand the injury or the wear and tear a little bit more. So when I do give them information of kind of, maybe do this, this, and this, think about doing this daily, that they understand it better. And when someone understands something a little bit better, they apply it better. So that's what we need you to do. We need to turn yourself into a little bit of an expert. So you don't know where you're starting with health and nutrition. Well, read as many different things as you can until you get to a point of, that you're starting to read information over and over again, like the same kind of information. Like, oh yeah, I know that. And it's kind of setting in a little bit deeper. Now, as you start reading through, you need to try and find information that doesn't end up trying to sell you something. Okay, so if you go onto any website or any article and it starts going, you need this diet plan, you need to buy this, or you need this supplement, you need to buy that, ignore it. Anything trying to make money off it, ignore it. Now, one bit of advice I can pass to you now, and this has been set in stone for years and years and years. So what is the healthiest diet there is? If you simplify it, research for decades always comes up with the same elements. It never changes. Okay, are you ready for this? Number one, eat whole grain. Eat wholesome foods in its kind of rawest form, not processed as much. Yeah. Second thing, eat lots of fruit and veg. Who knew? And the third and final thing is eat lean protein. Now, this is really simplified, don't get me wrong, but if you eat whole grain, fruit and veg, lean protein, generally your health and your waistline would be in a more positive light. And that has been the same for decades. Research kind of points it and alludes to it. Now, there is other things around that. So if we look at kind of hydration, exercise, you may need some level of supplement depending on, are you vitamin D deficient because the crappy summer that we're having, all these different elements, but they bolt on from that core. Now, have you got the core in place? Have you got that core? Do you eat whole grain foods? Probably not. Probably not as much as you should. Do you have a lot of fruit and veg? Now, I always get people go, yeah, I eat a lot of fruit and veg. And then I get them to write the diary down for the week about what they're eating, and they've hardly eaten anything. And lean protein, what does lean protein mean? If you're eating meat, then you need it in leanest source possible. So the white meats generally have less saturated fat than the red meats. But lean proteins also kind of refer to kind of beans, lentils, legumes, those kind of things. We want to get them plentiful in the diet. These are all whole foods. Anything that's got a lot of kind of packaging and processing, you look at the list and it's something quite basic, but the list is as long as your arm, then it's not going to be absolutely fantastic for you. Will it hinder your health in that one instance? No, it's fine to have these kind of foods, but they need to be so minimal, it's unbelievable. What should be making up most of your food is then just kind of, we'll just call it whole foods, nutrient dense. Now, I'm hoping that I've just got you started of the stuff that you may need to go and read to. Now, I always point people to the British Dietetic Association first. Go to their website. They've got loads and loads of useful fact sheets. So if you're not sure about where to take your health and fitness in terms of, I don't know how to kind of prioritize my own health and fitness from a nutritional standpoint, go to the BDA, the British Dietetic Association. Have a look at some of their fact sheets. They're really useful. And then just take on board what I've just said. Healthy eating is generally quite simple and all falls down to 3 categories: whole grain food, plenty of fruit and veg, lean proteins. There's your starting point. Go and upskill your knowledge. Let's go. Our self-image is completely inbuilt into how we feel about ourselves. When you look at yourself in the mirror, it can hinder or build self-esteem. Now, some people call it vain, and there is a level of vain in some people, when you kind of fall in love with yourself. I'm not talking about that. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you should have good feelings. It's the only way you're going to have a really strong, positive self-esteem. So it's important that we build that, simply because if we don't and we view ourselves poorly, we won't prioritize ourselves, and in the long run, it'll negatively affect our overall health. So if you've got a poor self-perception of yourself, we need to talk about some ways that we can overcome that. So you start prioritizing yourself better, to look after yourself better. You need to rate yourself, and we need to move ourselves forwards with that. One way to do it is surrounding yourself with people that don't just tell you nice things that stroke your ego. You need to surround yourselves with people that have your best interest at heart. Now, they may tell you some home truths that hurt a lot, and sometimes it might not feel like they've done the kindest thing, but maybe they have. If you're significantly overweight and you look at yourself in the mirror, and this may be some of your thinking pattern, you are not happy with it. Your mood is low. You look down on yourself because of the fact that you're overweight, and you've got these behaviors that is negative towards this. You don't exercise, you eat poorly, and deep down you kind of, maybe resent yourself because of it, and you want to do something about it. And then you go to a loved one, someone that generally does want the best for you, and you go, do you think I need to lose weight? And you've asked this question already knowing that answer. And because they don't want to hurt your feelings, they turn around and go, no, you look great as you are. Now, you're going to have a weird feeling, because deep down you have this weird relief, like, oh, thank God that, I don't have to do anything, and they still find me acceptable, attractive, all this, whatever it may be. But there's another side that conflicts against that feeling, where you go, but it's not going to change the fact that you're unhappy with yourself. So you get this weird blurring of them two lines, and it can leave you feeling really unfulfilled. What you really need is someone that maybe turns around and goes, why are you asking me this question? What are you hoping to gain from this conversation? What help do you need from me? So let's say you ask that question to someone like me. I'm a health and fitness professional, so you are going to get a slightly different response and prompt from me. But let's say, do you think I need to lose weight? My first response would be, I'm not quite sure. Firstly, is your body fat overweight? Because if that is, then yes, we need to bring that down to health measures. So even if you're only a little bit overweight, my approach would be, let's optimize your health and bring your body fat down into a percentile that we know that your health most of the time is going to be really solid. Second thing is, how do you want to move forwards with that aspect? So you're asking me this question because you've been thinking about it. So how do you want to move forwards? Let's forget your question. I already know you've been thinking about it. Why have you been thinking about this? What do you want to do about it? Do you think I need to lose weight? I already know now you've been thinking about this a lot. Give me more information. Why have you asked me this question? Where are we going? What are we doing? All of a sudden, we're framing this differently. If you can find people and surround your people that will help you face the truth that probably, yes, if you've raised this question that maybe I need to lose weight, you do need to lose weight. And it's not even just about weight loss. It might be looking at your body and kind of going, I'm fragile and weak. I need to boost my strength and fitness. I need to gain more muscle mass. And I'm not happy with this. You need to surround yourself with people that help you push forwards with that when you've recognized something within yourself. Now, once you've found those people, I will guarantee they will help you keep moving in that right direction. If you come to my community at Witness the Fitness, regardless of what your goal is, if you're not happy with your self-image, there'll be people around you that identify the same, so they kind of feel the same way and then trying to improve it, and they're happy to show all their hairs and graces and help one another push forwards. So surround yourself with positive people. Now, once you've done that, you need to focus on appropriate goals. So yes, we want to reduce your body fat and your weight, let's say, but I achieve that not by focusing on that. So let's take the weight loss thing. Lots of people just get on the scales and weigh themselves. Now, the act of weighing themselves, how does that help directly to lose weight? It doesn't. If I weigh myself this morning, that act of weighing myself does not help me actually manage my weight any better. What does is systems that I know influence my body fat and my weight management. So what are some of these systems? Exercising regularly and eating better. And I know that's really open to interpretation, but I'm just trying to keep things simple. So if you want to directly influence the way your body looks and how you feel about it, you need to find someone that's going to help you face the truth. And then that you need to focus on the actual systems and appropriate elements that help you change what you want to change about your body so you have a better perception of yourself. Now, there's ways that go along with this or things that we can focus on as well. So focusing on the systems of moving better, eating better on a daily, doing that really consistent. And it's focusing on our mood and our energy levels as well that go in line with those two things and really utilizing that element. How do you feel after a workout? Amazing. I don't know anyone that hasn't, even like the hardest ones where it was a bit brutal, they still come out going, I feel really good. Focus on that so you stick to them behaviors. Now, weirdly, once you face the truth, once you start prioritizing and focusing on moving better, eating better, the mood, your energy levels that come with that as a whole package, your body's going to change. Your mindset's going to change. And I will guarantee you will look in the mirror and your self-esteem will have improved. Guarantee it. So if you want a better self-image, it all falls into the same things again. Getting that support and that help and focusing on healthy behaviors. Do that consistently. The way you feel about yourself can do nothing but improve. Thanks for joining me on today's podcast about prioritizing your health and fitness. Really hope you enjoyed it. Do me a massive favor before you go. Make sure you press like, make sure you subscribe, give me a follow. It's really important to keep in touch with everything that I release. There is more podcasts on everything, health, nutrition, motivation with Witness the Fitness podcast. See you later.
Fitness, health, and nutrition. Tune in next time, and in the meantime, stay fit